Hello and welcome. My name is Jessica, and today I will be hosting the third part of Salesforce Getting Started. I'll be showing you how to customize objects and create a Salesforce that is more fitted to your organization and/or business. Let's get started. Today I will be using the Playground Starter Pack to make any changes, and Playground is a way for you to explore and manage different objects or settings within Salesforce or the Salesforce platform for your business without actually changing anything in the main Salesforce app for your business. So this is a good way to explore and learn more about what Salesforce has to offer and how it works. Playground is also used for hands-on talent challenges for the Salesforce trail mix or trails that will allow you to learn more about Salesforce. There is also an option to create sandboxes, and again, that is also a version where you can implement some changes within your Salesforce app, but this will again not affect it, or it'd be easier for you to take out without deleting the whole content of your Salesforce or data within that Salesforce app. So we are going to click on the gear. In my second video, I spoke about what the setup page looks like, but I want to go in more detail right now about the blue gear and the purple gear. What's the difference, right? The blue gear is a setup for current apps, and the purple gear is the developer console. So the developer console will be more of the even more back end to your business, right? Where you would be able to code and maybe change some layouts in a more complicated way. But I suggest trying to stay within the apps. It's much easier. And again, Salesforce is for a lot of people. So if you don't have that coding background, it is perfectly fine. You'll be able to do this instead. And so the current app. The current app means we are working on the folder that we have at the moment. If you remember on my second video, my first video where I spoke about terminologies, apps are like folders. And in a filing cabinet, right, in your system, in your Salesforce system, you have many folders. You can always check what folders you have or apps, what apps you have by going here. You can see that there's different content within the apps, and in those apps, you can always know where you are at by looking at the label. I call it a label. It's not really named a label, but it's easier to understand it when you think of it as a concept that is usually used, right? A folder, you label it, you know what it's gonna have, and here we're doing the playground starter pack, right? So let's get started again. Let's go to setup, the blue gear. We only want to change anything within the playground setup. Okay, so as I said before, this is our setup page, and you may be familiar if you saw my second video. This is our main screen, and let's go and let's change something. Let's customize an object, right? Let's customize that by going to Object Manager. Now you can click it here. There's many ways to access this. You can go to Platform Tools, click Object and Field, Object Manager. You can click here and type in Object Manager. We found it. As you can also read, Object Manager is also included up here. It's all different ways, and this is just an example of how to find one thing in the most quickest way possible. And you can always customize your bar as well to make it more useful for the person or the user who's accessing Salesforce. So Object Manager. Here we have all the objects within our setup, within our playground in this case. So all the objects here are pre-assigned and are only samples. I will be going to contacts, and let's change something within that. Fields and relationships, we're going to use that. These are the fields. These are the field name, which means what they're about. Field data type, what can you input or what can you choose in that field. And controlling fields, right now this is just like a layer. So if you have a field that if they click yes, then you would prompt for another field. That's what that means. As you can see, there's some that have just an a name that is very similar to this, but it's a little bit different. That's used for coding. So when you're coding, you can always call that back if your developer decides to do coding. There's others that have these dash or underscore C. What that means it's a custom tool, a custom object. The custom object is what we're doing today. To create a custom object, you'll click New. This will take a moment to load. Once you have that, here are data types. If you remember, I said data types are what you can do within that field or that section of your Excel sheet. These are also other things that you can do: checkboxes, dates, numbers, phone, pick list. Today we're going to do a pick list. It allows users to select a value from a list you define. Field label. Let's say we want to see if the customer is a returning customer. Right? Returning, are they coming back? This is what the person's going to see. A user in Salesforce or any of the staff members will be able to see this field or this label. Okay, so now we wrote returning here to see if the customer is returning, correct? We find that the field name, this is going to be an internal reference. Again, when you're doing your API, you can do a callback to this internal name. So use global pick list value, awesome. We can enter values as well. So this can be a yes, no. Let's take away that question mark. Okay, this would be useful for, or display values alphabetically would be useful if you're going to start, um, let's say some type of field that requires you to choose from different job categories. So you would go from accounting to banker, customer, and so on and so on. And so you would be able to easily go through the list and know that if the person you're looking for is an orthodontist, you would go all the way to the O section, and that's just easier for your employee to go and find that as well. Once again, this is all that a Salesforce user will be utilizing and visualizing, right? They'll be seeing what's going on here. And again, only certain people with certain administration or permissions will be able to do all of this. So make sure you have the permission to do it through your company. All right, so now we can write a description of what this is. Returning is basically self-explanatory, but I would urge you to write a help text. This is what you see on these areas. This is a help text. It lets you know whatever you're inputting is for. Why is it there? If it's required, why was it required? So help text, we can say, has the user previously worked with the company? A tip is always use some sort of spell check because there's a level of professionalism for you to revise and have proper punctuations, proper capitalizations, and obviously proper spelling. Now we're going to end that with a question mark. And you can make it a required field. We can click next. Similar to the previous page, you can click it on top or you can click it on the bottom. This is the permission levels for who can access that field and who can answer that field. So for example, here we have that the contact manager would have this field visible to them. That is the person who is going to be communicating. Of course, they want to know that, the customer has come back many times and they've used the services before. We have people who are not able to see this is the authenticated website. That means if you're going to connect it to your website, you don't want other people knowing who your contact is, and if they've been there for a long time, not a long time, if they're returning, if they're not returning. That's just some information that shouldn't be out there, or that isn't necessarily needed for someone to do business with you. Therefore, it doesn't need to go on the web page, and so on and so on, right? And we click next. Perfect. Save. Alrighty. So we can go down again. We're at fields and relationships. That's a good sign. That means it's saved, and now we're back to where we started. We can go down and find returning with a question mark. Again, you see returning as our API callback, and 2 underscores and a C. Now remember, at the beginning of this video, I said 2 underscores and a C means the object is customized. Make sure to know that. So therefore, other phone is not a customized object. It's a standard object. That means it came with the, the set list of contacts and what a contact should contain. Okay, I want to show you what we did and what other users will be seeing, and if they will be seeing our custom object depending on their permission. So we will click on preview as and then contract manager, because we know they have it, they have permission to view the custom object. As you can see, this prompted a pop-up. This pop-up is just a sample, and because we're on Playground, all things here are randomized. Here we can see the contact we were working on, just the contacts in general, their information, their phone number, and look at that, we have returning question mark. Returning question mark is the custom object we made. This can be an object that would help your business specifically and can be named anything that will help your business. Now I want to go and see an authenticated website, right? We explained that the authenticated website does not have the ability to view this permission. And as you can tell, the person with a authenticated website profile or user will not be able to see that information. Again, this is very important because there's some levels in the hierarchy or the roles within Salesforce that need certain access or need certain information and access to that information, all dependent on their levels. Alrighty, and that was the end of part 3 of 3 within the Salesforce Getting Started series. We will meet next time learning data models, how they work, and how to do them. So subscribe and stay tuned for more information on Salesforce. I would appreciate for you to leave a comment saying what I did right, what I did wrong. Again, I'm a novice, I'm trying to work it out, and I hope that this was at least helpful in 1 or 2 ways. If anything, I hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you next time. Bye!